G'day everyone, alright, so my bench update, I mentioned about building this kit. I've decided that I shall do this one next. So it's ICM's 1/32 scale CR.42 Falco, and this one comes with the figures. So I saw it with them, I could do a bit of a diorama display with it. And I got it on special, so why not? So I've already removed the lid from the box because ICM, the box art lid part goes over the cardboard carton and it's extremely tight, and I spend half my time trying to get them off. Alright, you've got colour call-outs here, paint call-outs with Revell and Tamiya. So this must be pre their own paints because they manufacture their own paints now, and they usually put those numbers in. So I didn't check when this kit came out. So that's the sprue with the figures and the colour call out for them. You got the sprue map for the aircraft. Pink areas are not required. So you're starting off with the floor pan of the cockpit area. So you got the seat, the base of the seat anyway going in, the yoke, and some the rudder pedals and a bit more bulkhead up in front of that. Oxygen bottles, there's a lot of framework in the interior, which is of the era of the aircraft. So a bit of that going on. And there is the back. So here you got some tube work, some of the framework, which has got the backing of the seat on that going in. And you got instrument panels on the side, again on framework, so it's quite busy by the looks of it in the cockpit. Here we got the instrument panel, like the main instrument panel, but they're giving you a warning they're individual decals, but I bought the aftermarket set for the interior, so I won't be using the kit decals for that. And you got the, so yeah, instrument panel actually attaches to the fuselage, and then your fabricated cockpit section going in, and you got another instrument panel on the other side. Again, they're telling you that they're individual decals, so they're actually just telling you given by individual. Hang on, let's check that. Okay, so they're calling out for 3, so I think that's one decal. Must be, I can't see carrier film, so it's actually one decal. I thought they meant each the dial was different, but not. Alright, you got the exhaust going in too before you glue the fuselage halves together, so don't forget them. Going together. Now we're moving to the rear by the looks of it, so we're going to the rudder and the horizontal stabilizers, and also the top of the fuselage at the front, in front of the cockpit, which has the gun sight by the looks of it. So the rudder is 2 halves, and so are the stabilizers. So, but they're in. So you got the main section and the rear section, the cloth covered area. So that's just the other side. You got the rear wheel, which, as I mentioned in my bench update, I thought about resin wheels for it, but it's not much point because you got the spats covering and you don't really see much, so I just use the kit ones, even though I don't like 2 half wheels. Then you're onto the engine. Again, just same old with kit engines going together. Yeah, nothing different to many others I've looked at, but alignment, I'm sure, will matter where everything lines up with the exhaust and that. Right, then you got the front part of the engine, the push rods. Hopefully they'll line up and square up when they sit in position. Right, the cowl section going around. I'd say cowl flaps, but they don't look like they're flaps. But anyway, it's the rear part of the cowl. Here we go, and then you're onto the cowl flaps. Option there, so open, closed. It looks like your open version, closed version, and then the front of the cowl going on. And then you've got, looks like you've got 3 parts for the engine cover area of the cowl, so you can, if you want, have a cover off to display your engine. I do know you can get resin engine for this kit. When I looked up Aftermarket, it had that, but it was I think it was more than what I paid for the kit, and I wasn't fussed on displaying the engine anyway, really. Alright, so here we got variant 1 and variant 2 here. Okay, these parts must be different shapes for each one. So there's 2 schemes, so out of the box. So by this stage you need to have decided which one you're doing by the looks of it. Again, variant 1, variant 2, which is cooling by the looks of it underneath. On the other side there, like an intake for cooling. Right, so only 1 variant, only 2 variants. So it's variant 1 looks like you got a longer system and the short system for variant 2, which should show. Looks the same to me. Anyway, 2 variants. Then you're on to the lower wing section. Again, 2 halves. Guns going in. Another piece on the side there. Not sure what that's for. And you got the supports. I've got the struts, cabanes. I'm trying to. I just come off night shift, so I've had no sleep. The cabanes going on. So hopefully again they all the slots they go in, helps it align with the upper wing. And you got the ones on the outer wing going on, and some more, and then you got the top wing, which again is two halves, and then you got the control surfaces going on separately. They look like they are one piece, and then your windscreen goes in, and your upper wing goes on, propeller, spinner, and then onto your wheels. Again, you're only just seeing the bottom half of the wheel. So, as much as I say, resin wheels are a good upgrade for a kit in this instance, so you probably wouldn't bother because you're really not seeing them. You see a bit, but not that much. And you got a couple of supports on the wheel area as well. And you need to scratch up some rigging. Just so 2 pieces either side, so it's not a lot. I don't know if I still got when I did that duck last year. I bought a set of rigging for that, and I had some left over. I don't know where I put it though, but that I might be able to use them if I find them. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to scratch something. But the actual pictures of it, I thought it looked like it was the flat style struts, not round, but I could be wrong. Alright, so you got the 2 possible or options for schemes in the box. 83 Squadron 18 Gruppo 56 Stormo. This one was Belgium 1940, and this is the one I think I shall be doing, even though it's the same camouflage. It's the markings that are different. I'm hoping I can create stencils. Well, not hoping, I should be able to for most of it. Just I'll photocopy the decals and use my cutter to cut them out. Just when I photocopy the white, I'm just going to make sure I try and get if I can get it that it picks up the actual number. I'll have a play with that later on in the game. I'm nowhere near that stage yet. Yeah, and then that is it. Right, so there, well, I've got them there. That was the decals. They do look all right. But like I mentioned, it nice large. It's better if you can make a stencil and spray them. But some of the little, obviously the unit markings I'll be using the decals. Just the larger ones I'll try and make masks for. Alright, have a look at this. Is the Kelik set I mentioned when I did my bench update. So let me it's actually one for the exterior. So it's just a similar thing to your Redard and Red Fox and Quinta and all that. They show you need to remove the details where it's red and apply the 3D decals. Let me zoom in a bit for a second. I have to zoom back out. I get the sprues out. So look, the details look really nice. It's just I can't see a problem when I'm gluing them on, but that's the only thing remaining is to see how they perform when you glue them. So yeah, red, cut the detail off or sand it off, and then green is the 3D decals going on. So it's quite a lot there. That. This is the extra sprue you get in this particular boxing with the figures. Now I have to go back out a bit. Wrong way. There we go. Like I mentioned in the bench update that they look alright, the details are alright. It's not as good as a resin figure, but they will do for me. Just a bit of clean up required when you glue them together. So you got the old mate holding the puppy, and you got the big dog. Alright. It's all in one bag. So somewhere in there, there it is a clear part. Sit up there. I mean, this is only, it's nice and clear anyway, but it's tiny anyway, even in 1/32 scale, but it's nice and clear. There's a couple other little parts on there as well. I'll sit that there so I don't lose it. Alright, so you got the fuselage, so you got the ribbing, corrugated texture in it. It's your typical, well, I don't know what the actual aircraft had in rivets anyway, but it's not, ICM don't usually full on do rivets. Some of the panels have them, but not the whole model. But it looks alright, and there's no ejection pins in the area that will be seen, which is good. Alright, sit that there. Alright, so got the wing section, all the larger wings, and you got the control surfaces, the front of the fuselage top, the interior of the cockpit there, the front bulkhead, your rudder pedals going, so there's the recesses, and you got the floor pan section. So you got nice big slots for the cabanes, so hopefully that helps really align them in the correct positions. Nothing here matters because it's all, most of it's two halves, and what isn't you don't see anyway, so no need to worry about injection pin marks on that. Oh, what's going on here? So you got some of your cabanes on here. Propeller looks nice, got no flash. You got engine parts on here as well, some of your instrument panels, so this will be all required to be removed through, put on the decals. Some of your parts are very small, even though it's 1/32 scale. You got part of the exhaust, see by the looks of it. strut section there. They got some bombs there. I don't think they were used on this particular boxing. I think they were the one parts that crossed out. So that's got the recessed and raised detail on the wheel spats. Yeah, spinner, I think I saw a spinner on one of the other sprues as well, and there's another one. So, oh sorry, this is a double up sprue anyway. So that's wiring too. They all look the same, so don't know. Alright, so you got the lower wings there. Again, they've got the ribbing texture in them, and the control surfaces have texture in them as well, raised detail on it. And you got your engine parts. Looks alright. Bit of flash here and there, needs cleaning up. And yeah, so you got the front cowl ring there, and some more cabanes, and the so you got the closed cowl flaps, open cowl flaps, and you got the internal framework of the cockpit, which is looking very delicate. A lot of care need cutting these off, because it could be a bit brittle, not brittle, but easy to break. And you got the exhaust again, bit of flash on some of that. And that's the kit. So I'll make a bit of a start on this, plug away. If I do a base for it, that'll extend the build out. Sort of got a basic idea of what I would want to do, but that'll come along later on when I get closer. So wait till I get the construction of the model done so I can see the size of it, and then work out base size, etc. So there you go. I'll add some still photos now so you can see the parts better. Well, I've got a start in. As my usual, I'm just doing some preparation of parts before I get back to doing all the detail in the cockpit. So I've put all the parts together for the control surfaces for the rear end. So that's the horizontal stabilizer for the left side. I haven't cleaned them up yet. The lower wings. The rudder, and same again, the lower wing and the stabilizer for the right side. I've glued a few parts together for the cockpit, but some of it I'll wait because I have to put those 3D decals on. So you got the firewall at the front, the rudder pedals, you got the bottom part of the seat, that's the backrest of the seat. There is a couple of ejection pin marks in it, but the 3D decals I think will cover that. I'll check it again before I paint. And you got the floor pan. I glued that one part in, but some parts too are different colours too. The call out colours are for light grey and aluminium, so we got to suss all that out how I paint it. And then the instrument panel, so that glues onto here. So, but I need to remove all that surface detail, so I won't glue it on until I've done that. Just clean the fuselage halves up, did a dry fit, will be good. It's a rather chunky wide body on it, the upper wing, so it's pretty decent wingspan on it. You're looking at 30 centimeters. I've started gluing up the figures, so there are several parts. They will need puttying and cleaning up. They do have seam join marks on the parts, so I had to clean them up as well along the way. I've started gluing up the engine parts. So here you got two halves. So that's that piece. Now the two of the cylinder heads have male locating tabs on them, only two, and the other part, the opposite part, two of the cylinder heads, they don't have holes for those tabs to go in. They have it's like a curved out section, so two of them, when you look at it, you can see it's curved out more than all the others. That's your alignment, so you need to get that right, because all the way along, by the time you get to the end, it matters where everything is for the exhausts and everything. So the male side has got the two locating tabs on one cylinder and two on another, so you need to orientate it that it matches the other one that has the areas that it's not hollowed out, but it's a different shape. You'll see that they're different shapes, but it's not straightforward. You gotta, if it had female holes to the male tabs, it'd be easier, but you sort of gotta, which one is it? And it was same for the other end, or the other part, this one, same setup. These exhausts, you got to glue two parts together, which will need cleaning up, and I'll have to check the seam joint if I need to fill it when I sand it back. And then there's the other side. Again, all that matters how it orientates, because it's how the engine will sit, and they'll need to come out of the cowl at the right section, and there was two other little separate exhausts that go on. They're not hollowed, so if you want to, you can well, the big one is hollowed, but those little ones aren't. If you wanted to, you can drill them out a bit. And again, this side, so that's two parts. Step 37 is two parts going together, and that was a bit vague as well. There's no positive point where it sat. You could maneuver it in different areas, so I worked it off this, the diamond shape, there's a tab in here. I sort of worked out roughly where I thought that was. I did a dry fit, and then I put these together, and get on there like that. Did a dry fit, and then sat it on. Which way? Back to front there, I think. To make sure that it all lines up. That's not spot on there, but so before I glued them together, I made sure how it was going to sit, that it all lined up. I didn't want to glue it and then find out I didn't do it right. So it's a bit, there are positive points, but it's slightly vague in a couple of areas. The wheels are non-existent for detail, but like I said, when the spats are on, you'll probably see that much. But you can get, if you like, there's no tread, you can get, I think CMK make a set of wheels for this kit which have tread in it, and the writing, the brand on the tyre. Whether you want to pay that money to see a third of a wheel, I don't know, but it is detail that's missing off them. And then I didn't get these parts off yet. I thought I'd wait. I get paint this, glue it together, and then start putting them on, because again, it matters where all that sits. And they're similar parts. I want to make sure everything's aligned properly. The top of the cylinders, these parts are still not really, probably don't need them for myself, because I'm not having the engine open the cowls off, so you probably don't even need them on. But from what I can gather, for so this, I'm doing the variant 2. So by the looks of it, these parts sit on top. Well, no, that's the bottom actually, the exhaust. So they're the bottom, and the top where the cowl sits. But if you're doing variant, this is really, I'm not sure if they've written this right here. They've got variant 1, variant 2. Variant 1, the cowl, variant 2, these parts, and down the bottom it's got variant 2, variant 1. That's, I don't know, that's clear as mud. Originally I thought one version had them on top and the other version had them on the side, but they got, how they've written it, I'm not sure. And like I said, at the end of the day, well, when I get the engine assembled, I'll have a look at how all that sits, whether I actually need them parts or not. But I don't know, I don't, because there's not enough, what are they, there's not enough to do the whole engine. There's only, you got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So down the bottom you have 6 either side, so the side cylinders. So I'm wondering, maybe I'm reading this wrong, when they're saying assembly variant, maybe they're meaning if you want to display with the cowl off, you're putting them on. Maybe that's what they mean. Otherwise it's a bit confusing in my head anyway. And I've done the front of the engine there, so the casing on the front had several parts that needed to glue on. That one might need a bit of putty just in there. It was the tab and slot the tab was too small for the slot, and I did a dry fit with the push rods all aligned, so that's good. Yeah, so that's a bit of progress. So now I'm probably going to come back and look at all the where I need to remove details for these decals. Start cleaning some of that stuff up. Alright, getting there with the cockpit. So I'm doing it in mini sections rather than putting it all together and trying to put all these 3D decals on. I'm doing it floor, sides, front, and then I'll glue it together. So this one's got floor panels that are decals, and that's decal, 3D decal on there. So I had to curve that over. So the flat sections I'm just using a PVA glue, which is this, which is specifically made for these sorts of decals, but I think it's just PVA glue. But that curved one I use CA glue to keep it to bite down. So this is the firewall at front with the, so you got the rudder straps, the pedal straps, sorry. That one broke. Just I was trying to bend it around and glue it down. It just snapped off, so it's a bit smaller than the other one. Those handles on there. That plaque or placard is pictured on here, but it's bigger than what it's pictured on their instructions. So actually, it's supposed to sit in between that raised section, but it's too big. But I put it on anyway, and that one there. So the curved ones again, I use CA glue, and the handles CA glue, but the other ones are the PVA. This side, so it was just those two levers glue on there on a flat section, and this one. So this one, they've given you two options, so I'm not sure what that's about, as if it's a different variant of the aircraft or what. But anyway, I put the bottom one where it's got more going on there, because I bought these for this model and for nothing else, so I just use them up on there. And you got that that flat panel there, which didn't really fit that decal. It's still not perfect. I had to cut a chunk of it out to get it into the framework. It pushes in on the side frame, but the slots weren't big enough, so I had to try and cut a bit more out of it. So that's on, but sitting there all right, so that's all good. Still got, so that this one I've still got to put, what numbers were they, 23, 24, so these little throttle levers and that have to go on there yet, but I'll wait till I'll wait till I glue it together in case I bump them off and break them. Right, let me move that. I also did, so I've painted in the fuselage halves. I've given it you can see it's grubby looking in there. I did a wash. I used neutral grey, seeing the base colour is light grey. I've painted in the headrest leather and sort of mixed a bit of buff with it to make it look a bit worn where the head pushes against. And this has got the 3D decals there and there. so that obviously they're better than kit decals, and personally I prefer these types of the 3D decals. I prefer them over photo etch, especially photo etch where you got to put a base down and one on top, and I hate doing that, whereas this is just one thing, one and done. That suits me better. And coloured photo etch, I find when I use it, when I bend it, the paint peels where you bend it. So, but again, that's just my experience with it. Rightio, so see the engine is painted and together. Yes, it needs to be weathered yet. So I found with the location of these main exhausts and the two smaller ones glue on after, I still, going by these images, I couldn't work out where they had to go, but here you've got a diagram which is almost 1-to-1 scale. So I laid, before I glued the housing on the front, I sat that down and used that as a template to line up these exhausts properly. So you can see that diamond, well, it's not a perfect diamond, but a diamond shape which is there. So I sat it there and used that to align the exhaust. I knew they had to come out there like that, so that sorted that. So all the metalwork is AK Extreme Metal Colours. I'll give it a wash and that when it gets to the stage of putting it in the model, and I'm still not, well, I'll wait till I've done all the rest before I work out what's going on here. I do think that it's, you put them on if you're having the cowl open to display the engine, but like I said, I'm not doing that. But I will double check that when I actually position the cowls on, or the front one, that if you can't see in and see missing like the gap there, so I'll have to work that out when I get there to that part of the build. Yeah, so, and I've slowly, while I'm doing in between paint drying and putting those decals on, I've sort of add a little bit to these. So I've put the heads on. That's part of the hat. There's another part yet. I don't know why they've done that, but the hat's two parts, which is painful. Same as that one, and the dog, the headless dog. It needs a bit of a clean up. This one's got a big seam going on with him. Looks like a Rottweiler. So I'll do the hats, and then I'll do the put the arms so I can position them how they're supposed to. And that one I just, the goggles, flying goggles, are glued on. You should probably put them on after, but I'm not much painting figures, so I'll just put it all together and paint it best I can. Alright, so that'll probably do me today. Other things to do, so that's a pretty good chunk done in my first session. There's really not a lot to it, really. Most of your parts of the engine, really half the build looks like engine. 1, 2, 3 pages of engine, 4, almost 3.5 pages of engine, and all the other bits and pieces, which a lot of it are prepared. So it's coming along, but yeah, like I mentioned, I think on my bench update, I'm going to do a base with this one so I can incorporate the figures. So when I get this all together, I can work out how big a base I need, and I'll cut that however I'm going to do it, and also be working on that as well as the model.